What's up, everybody? It's been a while since I made a YouTube video. It's been a real long while. I wanted to get on here today though and talk to y'all about on why, as you can tell in the title, I am no longer with Stevens. I quit Stevens. No, I did not get fired. I just quit. And let me go into detail on why I left and things like that. So let's just get right into it. I'm at home right now. Uh, so yeah. Why I left is because several reasons, really. Number one, I couldn't deal with the pay anymore as far as being a contractor goes and as far as making a CPM. Stevens contractors slash owner operators, they make a CPM. They don't make a percentage or anything like that, as far as I know. Okay. And I'm not going to speak on all of them because there might be certain owner operators that we have at Stevens that might be on the load board, that might have their own trailer and stuff, that might have access to the load board, and they might have something worked out with Stevens to where they do make a different, let's just say a different pay. Okay. Um, so I'm not going to, so when I say that, I'm basically just talking about your contractors, the ones that are not quite yet owner operators or your lease to purchase drivers. Your lease to purchase drivers are also not yet an owner operator fully. Okay. They're still making truck payments. Okay. If a lease to purchase driver was to leave Stevens, you can't take the truck with you because you don't own it yet. Okay. We have owner operators at Stevens. A lot of them I've talked to. A lot of them help me out with different things, and I appreciate that help. But them full fledged owner operators, the ones that start with a four-digit truck number. So let's say 2219. Okay, that's an owner operator. Now versus 2219 versus 40101, 401012 or something like that, you know, that is at least a purchase driver. Then which means their truck payments are going towards buying that truck. Then you have the contractors that start with a three, like 33526. Okay, that's just a contractor. Then you got company drivers that start with one fives, 152066. Then you got company drivers start with a 16, 16204, 16246. Then you got 17. Then you got trucks that are 17042. Okay, that's also a company driver. Okay, like I've said in plenty of my other videos, I was at one point a contractor. 33558, 33383, 33383, and lease to purchase 40129. Now, why I left. One is the pay. I don't think they pay their drivers enough. Okay, I understand that we've done some of the biggest pay increases in the history of our business at Stevens, but they're still so they're still so they're about a good. I was looking into it one day. I forgot the exact number, but they're about a 15% below average pay. Okay, about 15%, about 15 to 20% of below average. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to get in anyone's head. Okay. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from going to Stevens Transport because I believe that it's a great starter company. Okay. And if I find out that the grass ain't greener on the other side and I see what my other options are, then of course I'd probably go back. Because don't get me wrong, there is pros and cons to working there. You know, it's going to be like that with any company. Okay. So, one is the pay, man. My biggest week if I ran my ass off, okay, my biggest check would be 1400, okay? But it wasn't like that every week, okay? Some weeks it was 800, other weeks it was 980, other weeks it was 1275, other weeks it was 716, other weeks it was 550, other weeks it was 997, other weeks it was $13.88. You know, so the pay just fluctuated depending on how many miles I ran, because again, we was a CPM based. Okay, my empty miles, I believe, was $1.13 a mile. Your loaded miles is whatever the fuel surcharge is. So let's say the fuel surcharge is 65 cents, for example. Okay, so it's $1.13 plus 65 cents. Okay, so total you're making like $1.78 or so, give or take. Basically, what a fuel surcharge is what they it's basically like what Stevens covers for your fuel, right? So like let's say for example you take your loaded miles. Okay, let's say your OTR, you take your loaded miles. Let's say your loaded miles for that week are 2,700. You take 2,700 times 65 cents. It's basically what your fuel surcharge is. Okay, you come out to like 1,700 or something like that, or 1,600 or 1,500 or 1,800. So now for your loaded miles, you know, when you're keeping track of your fuel, you're looking at how much fuel you're buying, where, and you're tracking it. You're making sure you don't go over that 1,700 that's covered for your loaded miles, or that 1,800 in fuel that's covered for your loaded miles. Okay, that's one reason why I left. Okay, I just felt that the pay was too low. I feel like your base pay at Stevens, which like I said, mine was $1.13. That's your base pay. I feel like your base pay at Stevens right now, if you're a contractor or an owner operator or what the fuck ever you are, I feel like your base pay at Stevens right now should be at about $1.25, $1.30, $1.36 or so. That a lot of people would say, dude, that's way too high. No, it ain't. Look at some of these owner operators out here now. If you was to tell a true owner operator right now that drives for Landstar or something like that, or just doesn't drive for anyone, he drives for himself with his own trailer and his own load board, and he'd say, dude, you drive for $1.13 a mile? He'd say, that's what I drove for. I drove for $1.13 a mile 10 years ago. You know, it's like it's so it's just really low, okay? Especially the kind of money that Stevens makes. Okay, I don't even know where to begin with that number. Okay, but just know that they're set, dude. Like fucking they're dude, like seriously. And so that pay, man, that's just a reason why I left. Another reason why I left is because of the way they value their drivers. Now everybody is different, okay? Some people suck up and kiss ass, so they think that they're valued, but they're not, okay? Because the only one that really knows you at Stevens, that doesn't really know that knows your name, and you're not just a truck number to them, was my driver manager. My driver manager was one of them. Allie knew who I was directly. All I had to do was pick up the phone and call her. She knew my voice as soon as she heard me talking. My driver manager, he knew my voice as soon as he heard me talking. A couple of the planners knew my voice as soon as I started talking. They didn't need my truck number. They just knew it automatically. But really, that's it. So a very few selected few, right? Well, you know, moral of the story of that is that was another problem for me, okay? Was how they valued their drivers. It's like when I was talking about leaving and I went into the office a couple days ago. 1 second here. Hold on, y'all. When I went into their office a couple days ago, and I said, why don't y'all give me some reasons on why I should stay, right? I mean, seriously. Give me a reason why I should stay. Sorry, I had to pick up some Amazon boxes on the porch. Give me a reason why I should stay. Like, well, that's up to you. So you mean to tell me that you can't give me a good reason about your company on why I should stay? And blah, blah, blah. You don't care if I leave? That's up to you. All right. Well, I'll remember that here in a couple months when y'all try calling me saying, oh, we have a Midwest rail division that'll get you home more. Nah. Nope. Ain't gonna work. I gave y'all a chance to try and save yourself and you chose not to. You didn't want to value me. A couple of you wanted to try and call me lazy. Like I'm a lazy driver. Well, let me tell you this real quick. A lot of you that want to call me lazy when it lasts out there 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, you're so used to working your little 9 to 5 at your little desk. You're so used to going home You're so used to going home. Where did I put my views at? So used to going home every 8 to 10 hours, every 10 to 12 hours, whatever shift you work. You're so used to going home on that time frame, you you wouldn't make it, man. So it's the same ones that sit in the office that want to try and say that or whatever. Guess what? I stay out 2 or 3 months. Those of you that aren't truck drivers, now this next part, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. Those of you that are truck drivers, you will know what I'm talking about here in a second. I'd stay out 2 or 3 months. Guess how often I took a reset for my 70-hour clock in a week every 6 or 7 weeks. Maybe every 8 weeks. Kid you not, man. I knew how to work my clock. I knew how to keep it going and keep it going and keep it going and keep it going. It's the hours that I ran. It's the shift that I ran through the day. Did I run evenings? Did I run nights? Did I run days? I mixed it up, basically, is a good way to put it, I guess. You know, I've ran on recaps upwards of 29 to 3,100 miles in a week on recaps. And I was always, don't get me wrong, I trained a couple students here and there. I didn't like it. I was pretty much a solo driver. Okay? Me as a solo driver, running on recaps for 6 or 7 weeks, running 2,900 to 3,100 miles a week, staying away from my home for 2 or 3 months, missing holidays, missing birthdays, missing all kinds of fun activities, missing holidays. It's very rare you'll find a young truck driver like me who's willing to do that. I had one student who was around my age. He couldn't do that. Okay, he wanted to go home and be with his family and his kids. Me, you never heard me bitching about shit like that, but you want to call me lazy? Okay, see ya. Good luck with the next one. Because y'all can barely hold drivers 3 to 6 months, dude. Y'all can barely hold drivers for a year. Okay, now I get when you first become a new driver, it's what you signed up for. When you first become a driver, you got to do what's called putting your foot in the door. Okay? You have to do what's called putting your foot in the door. That means your first and second year, you need to make a name for yourself. You need to stay out months at a time and continue to get your foot in the door and show yourself, because you can't come into this industry as a new driver and expect to be home all the time and expect to make all this money. But here's the thing. This would have made my 3rd year with Stevens this year. Okay? I can't keep doing what a first year driver does. Okay? Because I'm the seniority, I'm above that point now. Now 3 years, that's nothing. 3 years, that's nothing special. Okay? 3 years isn't anything special at all. Because we got drivers at Stevens that have been there for 4 and 5, some upwards of 6 to 7, some upwards of 15 to 20. Okay, so and a lot of drivers, they want to argue it because they're happy with Stevens. That's fine. Okay, I'm not one of them guys who's going to sit over here and bash you and say, man, you're not making any money at Stevens, blah, 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 because that's not true at all. Some of these trainers do make money at Stevens. Some of these solo guys do make money at Stevens. I'm not saying I didn't make good money. I did okay. But as time progressed, I started to see the bigger picture. Okay, it's not necessarily just about the money. Okay, it's about your well-being. It's about your health. It's about your family. Okay, it's not just about what kind of money you make. Okay, money is replaceable. Family ain't, and that's the bottom line because I said so. Okay, you can replace money and go to work for any company. Okay, how can I replace my family? How can I replace their birthday? How can I replace Thanksgiving or Christmas? How can I replace them holidays? I can't. They're gone. Money, let's say I have $500, for example, which I have more than that. But let's say I have $500. Okay, I spend it all. Can I get that money back? Some people's going to say no. But you can. Literally, you can. Go get a fucking job. There's the money right back. If my sister or my mom was to go outside, go down the street and get in a wreck, can I get that back? Can I get that back? Yes or no? Answer is no. How am I going to replace my mom or my sister or my brother or my dad? You see what I'm saying? So that's another thing. The pay and the value of the drivers. Okay. Another thing is their mitigation system on their trucks and their cameras and stuff like that. So let me kind of explain the mitigation system. The mitigation system, they say, was put there to protect the driver. Let me throw the mitigation system and the automatic in there at once so I'm not all over the place. They say they put the mitigation system and the camera system all on there to protect the driver in a way they're right. They are right. The mitigation system on the trucks isn't meant to go off. It's not meant to beep at you and to tell you that you're following too close and this and that. You shouldn't even be having them alerts. Okay? You shouldn't even be having them alerts. So, and before I move on to the next topic, let me throw out there real quick. With Stevens, as far as that pay went, like I was talking about before this one, I did pretty decent for my age. Okay. But, if a grad driver comes in, right, and he does his 30 days on pre-alliance, or he does his 90 days of grad or something, or what the fuck ever, and he comes over to the contractor division, his base pay is what my base pay is. It's $1.13 because Stevens it's fixed, right? Unless they raise it, okay, it's fixed. It's a fixed pay. Okay, so I've been doing it for 3 years. Okay, when I started, the base pay was $1.05. Okay, so the dollar amount does go up, but it goes up on their terms. It goes up when they decide to turn it up. Okay, the base pay when I started was $1.05. It's $1.13 now. In 3 years, that's like a 9-cent raise. It's like nine or 10. And that's okay, but it's like, and let me throw out there as well. Okay, a lot of people think, oh man, you make $1.13 a mile empty, and then loaded you're making $1.78. So blah blah blah. Here's the thing: by the time I learned this from one of our owner operators, okay, by the time all your deductions come out, you're not even making $1 a mile, okay? You're making like fucking 50 some odd cents, okay? So it's like it's ridiculous, man. Okay, so it's in a way it's kind of hard to break down the pay. I've explained it the best I could. Like I said, I there's times that I did okay on money. There's times I didn't. So I'm not gonna say I left Stevens because I didn't make any money. Okay, there's been weeks that I made $1,200, $1,300 in a week. But then the next week I added another additional 900 on top of that. Then the next week I added an additional 1185 on top of that. Then the next week I added an additional 688 on top of that. So I did I did pretty good. Uh, but to me, it just started becoming a business thing. Anyway, moving on, like I talked about with the mitigation system and the cameras. The mitigation system's there to protect the driver and blah blah. It's not meant to go off. Okay, it's not meant. Okay, you shouldn't be on someone's ass. You shouldn't be on someone's ass following someone's ass. Okay, for me, there was times that my mitigation system would set off. Okay, it'd set off because a car in front of me would. Let's say I got a car next to me. Okay, I'm governed at 68. It's to the floor. Okay, I'm holding it to the floor, for example. Or let's say I'm not even holding it to the floor. Sometimes I'd turn my cruise on and set my cruise at 65 or 66 in case of a steer tire blowout. So let's say, for example, I'm doing 66. I'm fluctuating between 65 and 66. I got a car coming up next to me doing 75. Okay, so they're getting on right by me. They're easing on by me with a good little ease. Okay, they're moving. Okay, they're moving and grooving. Then they get in front of me. Let's say they get in front of me about by 3 or 4 seconds. Then all of a sudden, I can see their speed on like my dash or whatever. It'll show a car in front of you and little speed. Okay, now that speed I wouldn't say it's necessarily accurate. Okay, it might say the car is doing 75, but really they're doing 77, 78. Okay, so I wouldn't say it's so accurate, but I mean it's right there at it. Okay, you get the point. Okay, so all of a sudden they're slowing down. Why? Why do you need to match my speed? Why do you need to go the speed I'm doing? And I'll see that. I'll see it on my dash. I'll see, okay, that they've slowed down to 69. I'm over here doing 66. And now my thing's going off because I'm at 2 seconds following distance. So I see that they're at 66. So I back out. I back down to about 62, 63. Next thing I know, I'm looking down. They're backing out down to 62, 63. Okay. Now I'm going to give you one more chance. I'm going to slow down to about 60. Mark's about to come in. What's up, Mark? Making a YouTube video. So, like I said, I'm going to give you one more chance. Now, I just slowed down. Okay. There's no reason that I can think of that you need to be slowing down unless something's wrong with you or unless something's wrong with the car. So, I've slowed down to 62, 63. Now you've slowed down to that speed. Now it's really going off. Okay, I'm gonna back it down to 60. Okay. Oh, then you're gonna go to 61. Then it's gonna keep going off. I've slowed down enough. I'm not slowing down no more, unless traffic is at a stop, because traffic around me is steadily moving. Right. Traffic around me is steadily moving. What are you doing? Here 2 minutes ago, you was moving past me. You was moving at 75 miles an hour when I was doing 66. All of a sudden, you're in front of me now, and you're acting like an idiot. So at that point, my mitigation system would go off, and it would send it to Stevens. Eventually, when it's time for me to go in for my safety talk every 90 days, They'd pull it up and they'd look at it. Why aren't we slowing down? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? I am slowed down, okay? Here's the thing. I'm not going to, a lot of truck drivers say, well, you need to keep slowing down for the car to get away from you. You need to slow down to 50, 55, 45. Okay, so the car will get away from you. What happens when they don't get away from you and they keep slowing down with you? Are you literally gonna, because of this car, you're literally just gonna keep slowing down, slowing down? Well, guess what you're eventually gonna get down to on a 70-mile-an-hour highway? Guess what speed you're gonna get down to? You're gonna get down to fucking nothing. You're gonna be at a stop in the road. Okay. Trust, I've seen it. Okay. I've almost been rear-ended around it. I watched a truck that was coming up behind me. He went, pew, and around, literally fucking whipped his entire truck, dude. About laid the motherfucker over, and he's yelling at me, pulling his horn, yelling on the CB, all kinds of shit. All because this mitigation system, all because of safety. They don't want you to have a following distance problem. What the fuck are they going to do? You know, they tell you to worry about what's in front of you, the present and the future. What about what's behind you? A lot of these companies, they tend to think what happens behind you isn't going to be your fault. It will be your fault when the cop gets there and you admit the truth and you say, sir, I was impeding traffic because of this vehicle. This is our policy at Stevens Transport. This is what I was doing. I was following our policy, such and such, such and such and such and such. Well, sir, that's a problem. We don't care about what your policy is. That's not the law. Okay, at that point, when you're breaking interstate law, DOT highway law, that doesn't win in court. Okay, because you're impeding traffic. It literally has a sign by the speed limit 70. Then what's it say below that? The 40. It says minimum of 40 miles an hour. You just got rear-ended at mile marker 80 on I-70, where the speed limit is 70. You just got rear-ended moving 25 miles an hour because of a car in front of you. Depending on what hits me behind me, you think they're going to survive it? If it's a truck, if it's another semi-truck, probably they will, but that's going to be one fucked up truck. Number two, if it's a car that rear ends me, they're moving at 70 and they see I'm, all of a sudden it's too late and they see that I'm moving at 25, you're not going to survive that. Okay. There's no way. I wouldn't say I've ever seen a car run into the back of a semi. I didn't see it happen right in front of me, but I did see the aftermath of it after it had happened, after about 10 minutes prior to me seeing it. After, they got the highway shut down, you're moving by it, you can clearly tell what happened. And when you see them setting up a body bag and stuff, they didn't make it. Okay, so and then, like the story I was explaining, had I, went around them or something like that, something else had happened, then I would have gotten in trouble for making a lane change. So, with some companies, man, you just can't win. Okay, that's what they do. Okay, they argue with you. Okay, it's always something. Okay, then the camera system, that fucking thing. Trying to set this up. Okay, then the camera system. Let's say, for example, the camera system picks up on a star. Okay, it says a star for being a good driver for something that it picked up on, something that it's seen, right? So, camera system picked up on there's a disabled vehicle on the shoulder with a wrecker and a cop. So I safely move over. Well, when I moved over to the left lane, there's a car up in front of me at 3.5 seconds. Steven sees that on the video. They say the camera gave me a star, but Stevens didn't give me a star. You know why? Because I was too close to the car in front of me when I moved over to the left lane. So Stevens would have looked at that as you shouldn't have moved over because there was that car right there in front of you in that left lane at 3.5 seconds. You moved over. You're at 3 seconds following that car. Following time. So you mean to tell me I should have stayed in the right lane? Yeah. Who would have been at fault if, let's say, the wrecker would have got hit by my truck? Or by me? Or the cop would have got hit and his body would have splattered? Who would have been at fault then? Me. States, y'all, they do not care about what a company policy is. It is the law to slow down and move over. Okay? Of course, if you can't move over because you got somebody sitting right here next to you, then you can't move over. But at that point, you need to slow down. Okay? But just because you're slowing down doesn't mean you can't be in an accident. You can't be in an accident with somebody fucking right here on the shoulder. Okay? Yeah, now I speak the truth. I don't really care who likes it. Okay? If you can move over, move over. If you can't move over, you need to slow down. Now just because you slow down doesn't mean something can't happen. Doesn't mean that your steer tire can't blow out, and as it blows out, you just wipe out the wrecker in the disabled car or the cop or whatever. Okay, because shit like that, like my company, they'll say if a steer tire blows out, you speed up. It happens so quickly that by the time you speed up and by the time them weak ass automatics with no horsepower or torque, by the time they get sped up, you're already veering off to whichever way the truck wants to take you. Okay? I don't think you guys understand how quickly it happens. Just how fast. Literally in a quarter of a second. Okay? My dad's been driving 43 years. You don't think he's ever experienced anything like this? You don't think he's ever seen it happen? You don't think he's ever been in a construction zone in Ohio and a cab over and watched somebody get ejected through the windshield? And he pulled over and with his pillow got out, propped the guy's head up with the pillow, and I'm the one that still has that pillow. There's blood stains on it. Cop tried going off on my dad saying this and this is why this happened and blah blah blah. By the way, this was years ago, but I wasn't even alive yet. Wasn't even born. Tried to yell at him saying it was his fault. Well, my dad shut him up real quick, didn't he? And the automatic thing too. I can't deal with automatic trucks. Okay, they ain't got no power, none. They say automatics are better on MPGs. No, they're not. You know why? Because an automatic lugs more. You know what? If you're a truck driver, you know what lugging is. If you're not, you probably don't know what lugging is. And they lug really easy. They lose power very easily. They struggle to climb hills when you're loaded. And the fact that I've driven manuals and I've tested in manuals and I ain't got no restrictions, I have to know what my worth is and what I have to go after. Okay, that's another thing. And I'm going to work for. I'm not going to say who I'm going to work for yet. I'm taking a few weeks off. And like I said, I'm in my 3rd year of truck driving. I ain't got nothing on my DAC report or my MVR. I did turn the truck in safely. Cleaned out. Detailed it myself. Wiped everything down. And that's the end of it. Alright, y'all, I got some things to do. I'll try and be back with the part 2 on this video. See ya.